In this video, you're going to learn about the 3 key benefits of Google AdWords, and also we'll do a comparison between Google AdWords and Facebook ads because it's a common question that comes up: which should I really invest my advertising dollars into? But let's get started with the 3 key benefits of Google AdWords and really online advertising in general. Now, the first key benefit is that you get instant results. If you come into AdWords, set up a campaign, and appear at the top of the search results in Google here, well, then you can be getting traffic to your website straight away, and round the clock traffic to your website within 5 minutes. Now, if you want to appear organically here in the search engines, you have to create content, you have to share that content, you have to get a lot of people linking to it. Even on social media, you need to be setting up, your Facebook page, creating great content, building up an audience. So it's a much longer term process, and a key advantage of online advertising is really you get those instant results. You can set up a campaign in less than 5 minutes. Now, the other key advantage of Google AdWords in particular is it's highly targeted. Now, you can see that these ads, if I type in here digital marketing course online, that these ads are really related to the search that I've put in here. So if I put in something like drone, let's see if any ads come up here. So we can see that the ads change based on the search that I put in, and that makes advertising on AdWords incredibly targeted. And you can target it not only just by the keyword here, but also by location. So if I want to advertise only to people, say where I am in Ireland, then I could set that up. I could do certain times of day and a lot more. So targeting is a key part of the advertising, and in particular on Google AdWords, the key advantage is you can target those ads around exactly what people are searching for, and that helps you to really get better conversion rates, get people clicking through, and get those people to maybe buy or take an action because we already know what they want. They've told us by typing that into Google. Now, the third key benefit of Google AdWords is it's cost effective. So the way that the advertising works is that you pay per click. You might have heard that before. It's PPC for short. So only if somebody clicks on this ad do I actually pay Google AdWords. So that's the key advantage as well. If nobody's clicking on the ads, then I don't pay anything. But if people are clicking the ads, then I pay per click. So those are the 3 key benefits of Google AdWords. So you get instant results, they're highly targeted, and they're very cost effective. Now, a common question then that comes up is, well, Google AdWords sounds pretty good. What about Facebook ads? A lot of hype around that as well. Which is more effective? Which gets better results? And I think the key thing to understand is that whether you want to advertise on Facebook or whether you want to advertise on Google, what you really need to keep in mind is the intent of the people on those websites. So when I come to Google, I know exactly what I'm searching for, and I'm typing that into the search engine. For example, a digital marketing course online. If I come into Facebook, I'm not searching for anything. I'm really here just to connect and share, and so my intent is much different here. Now, a lot of stuff comes up in my newsfeed here that I mightn't have been thinking of. Like this, for example, there's a new workspace in Dublin. I haven't been searching for that, but I am in Dublin. I do work from home, so it's kind of relevant to me, and they will have targeted that to me around certain criteria. So I am not searching for this, but still, this is something that I could be interested in. So if you want to advertise on Facebook, just remember that you want to be targeting people who are much further up that sales funnel. They might just be becoming even aware of you here on Facebook first, whereas on AdWords, if I had typed in co-working space Dublin, then that would be a different type of ad. So really both platforms get great results. Not one is better than the other. The key thing that you need to remember is that people here in AdWords, they know exactly what they're looking for. Here in Facebook, they don't maybe not be searching for something exactly, but you have a ton of information about them, who their friends are, and there's also a ton of social proof that you can add into the advertising here, like comments, likes. etc., that aren't, those type of social proof factors aren't available here on AdWords, clearly, as you can see. So which one should you use? Which is more effective? Both are very effective. Just remember that the intent is slightly different on each. There are slightly different features and targeting options. But a really good thing to do is to allocate a little bit of budget to both AdWords and Facebook, so you can really run ads on both, understand both systems. And actually, I found by comparing both and using both, I've understand both a lot better. So that is kind of a pro tip, to actually split a little bit of budget, start to use both of them, and that will really help you understand how to use both platforms effectively. In this video, you're going to learn how Google AdWords works, and this will help you understand how Google became one of the biggest companies in the world, and also then how to reduce the costs of your advertising campaigns. So if you understand the mechanics and the general system, you're going to be much more effective and be able to reduce your advertising cost. So firstly, how did Google become one of the biggest advertising companies in the world? Well, it's amazing, actually, a genius system. They really were able to create unlimited advertising space. So let me just give you an example here. So if I type in digital marketing course online, I can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 advertising slots there. And if I move further down to the bottom of the page, there's 3 more. So 7 advertising slots per page. Now, if we look at a traditional newspaper, they have a similar thing where they've got a place to sell their advertisements. You can see it's one ad here. And as we go down through, there's another ad here. And there's probably another couple of ads down here as well. So it would appear on the face of it that they're selling kind of advertising space. You know, how did Google become 10 times, like, you know, a billion dollar company when a newspaper like this with a similar advertising model just didn't get big at all? Well, the genius part of Google AdWords is that they serve ads depending on what people search for. So now you've got 7 slots here to sell. But if I change this search term to say another topic like ethical hacking, you can see that we've got maybe another 6 or 7 advertising slots to sell as well. And if you want to get a scale of how many advertising slots they've got, you can see on this Internet Live Stats website that Google gets over 3.5 billion searches per day. This is a live counter of it here. So if there's 3.5 billion searches, a lot of those terms there can be advertising space sold for them. Multiply that by 7 ad slots per search term, and you have got a phenomenal business and really an unlimited advertising space that you can sell to. And that is just a lot more than a traditional newspaper. And that's really how Google became the biggest advertising company in the world. It's actually genius. And it's just amazing to see how powerful that is. So with so much advertising space, it's unlimited. Obviously, there's a challenge there. How do you actually sell all this advertising space in an effective way? A traditional newspaper might ring up this company Virgin and say, hey, you know, we've got a space for the banner on our website. You know, this is what it costs. And boom, they book it in and they just manually put up this here. But obviously, with so much advertising space, Google can't do that. They can't ring individual people, and they can't even set up the ads for them. So that's why they have created Google AdWords, which is a self-serve platform. So you come in as an individual and set up your own ads, and that allows them to fill that advertising space very, very easily. Now, the way that they've set it up in AdWords as well here is it's essentially an auction system. So if you want to be in the top spot here in Google, you have to make a bid to be at the top, and then you're bidding against other companies who want to appear at the top here. So for example, in this ad, it's Pluralsight versus Udemy, and they would be bidding against each other to get to this top spot here. But unlike a traditional auction where the only factor is price, so the highest bidder gets the top spot, actually in Google they've added in another factor, which is quality score, And it's those two factors combined that actually determine your ad rank, or who gets the top spot in Google, or what position you appear in. So it's called ad rank, and as it says here, it really determines the position of your ad, and ad rank is calculated by the bid amount plus multiplied by your quality score. So this is important if you want to really reduce the cost of your advertisements. The good thing to know is that you don't have to have the highest bid. What you need to have is the highest bid multiplied by your quality score. So if you can improve your quality score, you can essentially outrank those higher bidding competitors. Now, I will explain what quality score is here in a second, but one question you might be adding, well, why didn't they just leave it at the highest bidder? That would just seem to me just an easier process to do. Well, that is true, but the thing is, say, if Udemy had a much bigger budget than any other company, then they could just buy up the advertising space for every single related keyword. And Google don't want that. They want to create ads that are very relevant to people searching. So that's why they've added in this factor of the quality score. And the quality score, if we look it up here, it's the expected click-through rate, the ad relevance, and the landing page experience. So it's a combination of these factors that actually make up the quality score. So if you want to reduce the cost of your advertisements and get to the top spot with a lower bid, then what you can do is improve your quality score. And the way that you do that is firstly by increasing your expected click-through rate. Now that is based on historical data. So if you have an advertisement here that has great copy in it that really wants me to get to click through, then Google's going to say that, and they're going to say this is an ad that people have clicked through in the past, so there's a good chance that they're going to click through in future. And you can improve this part of your quality score, your expected click-through rate, by really writing a great ad. And that is an important part of increasing your expected click-through rate and increasing your quality score. Now, ad relevance, of course, is very important. So you really want to make sure that your ad includes the keywords that you're appearing in the ad for, so people will click through, and also your landing page experience. So when they do click through on the ad, are they actually staying there, or are they just clicking straight back out of there? And Google will be really measuring all of that. So in terms of having success on AdWords and keeping the cost of your campaigns low, it's really important to put time and effort into writing ads that are going to grab people's attention and make them want to click through, that you are creating ads that are really targeted to specific keywords and not just general ads that cover everything. And also then where you're sending people actually through to, is that relevant to the ad and what they've been searching for? So there's a couple of factors to think about there. It's not just about setting up your campaigns and just pressing go and forgetting about it. You do need to have a think about it and make sure it's relevant, so you can really keep that quality score high and outrank competitors with bigger budgets. So that is really how Google AdWords works, how it became one of the biggest companies in the world by selling really unlimited advertising space, and how you can reduce the cost and outrank higher bidding competitors by increasing your quality score. In this video, you're going to learn how to spy on your AdWords competitors with an amazing free tool called SpyFu. Now this will tell you a ton of information, like how much they're even spending on AdWords per month, what are the keywords that they're spending the most money on, and what are their most profitable keywords. And this is incredible information to know, because you can really look at their strategy. They've obviously spent a lot of money trying to figure this stuff out, and you can really take it and apply it to your own business. And that will cut down the learning curve incredibly for you. And also it just helps you become a lot more profitable quicker, because you don't have to go through all the mistakes. Essentially, you want to model the competition, and this tool will give you that inside information that they don't even reveal to themselves. And I'm going to show you how they get from this information. It's really, really smart. So the first step, and really the only step to use this tool, is to enter your competitor's website to get started. So you might be not clear on who your competitors are. So what you want to do is come into Google and then type in your product name, the topic that you want to appear at the search engines or rank for, and then up we're going to pop the competitors in the ads here. So these people are already spending money on Google AdWords. That's why they're appearing here at the top of the search results, and we can see ad on the side. So what you can do is just even take the top result to get started, copy that, and then paste it into the tool. Now this is where it gets really cool, because we can see a monthly overview of this particular domain. So over here on the left hand side we can see the organic search. So these are the terms that they're appearing in the search engines for organically without paying for. This is through their SEO. And we can see that they're ranking for 7,000 keywords. That brings them an estimated monthly clicks of 50,000 clicks. And that is worth a value of them estimated of 140,000. Now that is incredible to show, because even if you're working in SEO, you can show the value of it to a different company that you start to work for. You can show them tools, say, look, your competitors are ranking for these keywords. This is estimated what's a value to them for. So that's really incredible to know. And you can even come in and open up this report, and without even logging in, and absolutely free, you can see the top most valuable keywords for them that they rank for free. You can even see the positions of those and roughly how much that is worth for them. Now you do obviously have to log in or maybe sign up to see all the results, but I still think this is incredible information to get for free. It really is a remarkable tool. Now that is we get some information here about how they're ranking in the search engines using SEO for free. Now over on the right hand side we have really information about their paid search. So these are the keywords that they're actually paying to be at the top of the search results for. And the cool thing here is really interesting to note straight away is that they are only paying for 700 keywords. So you can look across and you can see, wow, that's actually like almost exactly 10%. And so these must be the most valuable keywords. If they are paying for these must be the most profitable for them to appear at the top of the search results for. And if we open this up again, we can see a preview of what those keywords are, even how much it costs per click, the monthly cost that they spend on them. So we can see the breakdown of the budget, the monthly searches, their ad position, the total number of ads, etc. So even just coming in here and saying, okay, well, I typed in digital marketing courses, but they're also paying to appear for digital marketing courses online, digital marketing certification, curriculum development. So that's not something I would have thought of straight away, but obviously you can see this reveals the most profitable keywords in this report. So we can see that their estimated budget then is about $5,000, and this can just help really formulate your strategy really quickly by just looking at competitors. Now scrolling down the page a little bit more, we can see their competition in terms of organic and paid. And again, we can click into, say, all of these tools, and we're going to go a level deeper and really get the same report for them as well. So amazing tool. You can start with one competitor and figure out a whole lot of information about other competitors. You can see the shared keywords, etc. Now you might be wondering, how do they actually get all this information? Obviously, this Digital Marketing Institute is not just going to hand over this information and say, here's our most profitable keywords and this is how much we spend and here's our exact strategy, just take it. Obviously, they're not going to do that. So how does this tool get the information? Well, it's really smart. What they do, and if we open up the paid keywords report, is they actually take a screenshot of pretty much every page on Google. So if we come into the keyword, we click the down arrow, view cached SERP, so the search results, we can see that they've taken a screenshot, and that in this screenshot they see that this company is advertising here, and then they scrape that data, obviously put it into their database, and they know that they're paying for that keyword and the position that they're ranking, etc. So it's a really sophisticated and a pretty complex system that they set up. But what it means really for you is that you can come into this tool, really get an insight into your competitors, see how much they're spending, see what keywords they're spending on, see what the most profitable ones are, It's a really amazing tool. If you use it, I guarantee you, you're going to cut your learning curve in half in terms of forming your own AdWords strategies, and you're going to save a ton of money because you don't have to waste a lot of money figuring out how it all works. Just look at maybe 2, 3, 5 competitors. You'll have a much clearer strategy before you even open an AdWords account. In this video, you're going to learn how to set up your Google AdWords account. So all you need to do is come into Google, type in Google AdWords, and this will pop right up at the top of the search results, and then you can just click through. Then you just want to come down and click Start Now, and that might take a second to load up. Then once inside, you can actually skip this guided setup if you see that option. That'll just allow us to get through the steps a little bit quicker. And then you just want to follow the instructions here to enter your email, country, time zone, and currency. Now, as it says here, you won't be able to change these settings later. So just make sure that you set this up in the currency and the country and the time zone of where you'll really be working from and the currency that you'll be paying in. So you just want to change those settings if you want, and then click Save and Continue. And then you just want to sign in to Google AdWords. Put in your password for your Google account for your email. And there you go. Now you'll be inside Google AdWords and have your Google AdWords account set up. In this video, you're going to learn how to select your campaign type. And this is the first step to set up a campaign in AdWords. So what you want to do is go ahead and log into your AdWords account, come down to the Campaigns tab, click the plus button and click New Campaign. Now, as I said, this is the first decision you'll make, and you can see that there are 5 different campaign types. So I just want to run quickly through each of these at a high level so you have an understanding of them, and then we'll select one so we can really go through our example campaign. So firstly, we've got our search network, and this really allows you to reach customers interested in your products or services with text ads. Now, you're probably already very familiar with seeing this. These are the ads that appear at the top of the search results. They're just text ads and pretty simple. Now, next up, you've got the display network, and this allows you to run different kinds of ads across the web. So this is really a key part of Google's advertising platform, that not only can you appear underneath the search results, but they've also partnered up with a ton of sites so that you can advertise on those sites as well. So here's an example of one of those partner sites that is allowing Google to put ads on their website. It's called W3 Schools, and you can see here is an ad from Google on their website. Now they allow Google to put this ad here because they get a cut of the ad revenue. And you can see that this format of this ad is a banner ad, which is obviously different than to the text ads just here. Now, if we click this open, you can see that you can advertise your business all over the web with AdWords and earn revenue from your website with AdSense. So you may have heard of AdSense before, and this site would have got set up with AdSense so that they can earn revenue from Google advertising platform. In terms of for you, what is the benefit of this? Well, you can really put different types of ads and not only put them on the search results, but also in sites that maybe your customers spend a lot of time on. Now, coming back to our campaign types, we've also got shopping ads, promote your products with shopping ads. So if we look at this, you can see the format of these ads are quite different to just plain text ads. You have got the pictures here, and this really goes right down into the product pages. We've also got video ads, and primarily this will be ads that you can put on YouTube. It's all done within the same AdWords platform and campaign setup process. So for example, here's an example of one of those ads on YouTube that just is on top of the video before it starts. So YouTube ads can be set up in here as well. And then you've also got app install ads. So these ads will, for the most part, appear in other people's apps, which is they've got a similar process where they've a partner apps where they advertise in, kind of similarly to how they do it with the websites and the display network. Now, for this example, we are just going to pick the search network. It's probably the simplest one to get started on. And you can see that there's options to drive sales, leads, and website traffic. and we're just going to click website traffic. Then we want to put it in our business website. So I just put in the website and click continue. Now the cool thing is that you can go through this process with just to experiment yourself. You can go right to the end of the process, and you won't need to put your credit card on until you actually want the ad to go live. So even if you're not sure if you want to advertise just yet or exactly how it would work, I would just encourage you to come in and set this campaign up so you can really give it a go. Now we can just put this as test campaign. And what we can do is we can just select it so it appears only on the search network and not also on the display network. So we want to really keep this as a search only campaign. And for now, we'll just leave it at that. But that is the first step to really set up your AdWords campaign, to select your campaign type. Once you have selected your campaign type, the next step is to start to target your audience by location and language. Now, these are just 2 of the 5 ways that you can target your ads on AdWords. We've got locations, languages, time of day, device targeting, so mobile, tablet, etc., and keywords. And all those are coming up, but in this video, we're really going to focus on locations and languages. And what I would really recommend that you do is you open up any available data that you have to improve the accuracy of your targeting here for location and languages. And there's 2 places where you can really get a lot of information if you have it set up. One is Google Analytics. So if you come down into the audience reports, you'll see that there are 2 reports here, language and location. So I can see what are the countries where I get most of my website visitors from. And even if I break that down, I can see the individual cities. So starting out in your campaign, you might not want to target to the entire country, which it probably will be by default. To really reduce your costs for your first campaign and to get much better results, you can really narrow this down to maybe your top city. So for example, I can just say Dublin here and put this in as a city. And if I put this in, you can see that comes up, and there, that's where it's targeted to. Just people in my city are going to see the ads underneath their search results. Now, what you can also do if you are a, say, e-commerce company and maybe you don't ship to somewhere like India, you could include that as a country. And I just wanted to do this to make sure that I'm excluding this. So instead of targeting it, I could exclude it there. So you can see in the location section here that you can include locations and get very specific, even down further than cities if you want. And you can also exclude countries, regions, etc. Maybe if you're an e-commerce company and you don't ship there or you don't offer services there. So location targeting, very important. It will really narrow down your audience, and you can really use the information from Google Analytics to do that. You can also use the same information from your Facebook page. If you've that set up, you can come across the Insights section, come down to the People report, and you'll see similar the country and the city that you can either target specifically. So you are targeting those people who are really interested in your product. For your first campaign, you really want to focus in on the most engaged people, and then as your campaign starts to generate revenue and get a return on investment, then you can broaden it out. Now, similarly with location, you can also target it to specific languages. So you can see by default it's set up in the language that I'm operating in and of my country, which is English. And you can also look at Google Analytics and the language report. You can see English here, and in the Facebook Insights, the language as well, and use that available data if you have it to really select the language. Now, if you do want to target different languages, I would recommend you set them up as separate campaigns. Right now, we have set up one test campaign here, and we're just doing this for English. Say if I was a company that wanted to target Spanish speakers in the US as well, then it's better to set up a separate campaign so I can really set up a campaign to target those speakers and create keywords, etc., that would focus on them. So if you do want to target multiple languages, maybe it's better to set up two separate campaigns. So that is really the next step in setting up your AdWords campaign. Pop in the locations that you want to include or exclude and put in the main language that you want to target. After you have targeted your ad campaign by location and language, the next step is to determine your bids and budget. Now, by default, this will probably show up as manual CPC, manual cost per click. And over on the right here, we can get an explanation of what this is. It really allows you to set your own maximum cost per click for your ads. So you can say, I only want to pay $1 for a click. You can set that up now. Now, this is a manual bidding strategy because you really set that cost per click yourself. But there are also automated bidding strategies, and I just want to give you a high-level overview of these. But ultimately, for this example and for your first campaign, I'd recommend you do manual CPC so you can just really keep the costs low and not let things kind of go out of control. So if we come over to target CPA, we can see this allows you to set the bids to get most conversions. So if you select this option, you won't be saying that I want $1 per click. You will be saying I want to really increase my bids as much as possible to get a cost per acquisition. So if we click into that, in order to really, for AdWords to determine that cost per acquisition, they need to be measuring how many ads are resulting in acquisitions. And so to do that, you need to set up conversion tracking. So to use this type of automated bidding strategy, there are a couple of extra setup steps, and that would really require you to put a little piece of code on your website so that AdWords can see which ads are resulting in the most amount of conversions. Now, those conversions could be email signups, they could be even sales on the site. So I won't go into all the details, but I just want to briefly run through these other automated bidding strategies so you have an understanding of what they are. Now, target ROAS, target return on ad spend. So this is a slightly different metric. You're not trying to get that cost per acquisition. You're really trying to get a target return on ad spend. And once again, you would have to set up conversion tracking to really get that done. Next up, we have maximum clicks. So if you just want to get the maximum amount of clicks on your website, well then this is the option that you would select. Next up, we have maximum conversions. So once again, it's just getting the maximum amount of conversions, not even for a targeted cost per acquisition, but just the maximum again that would require conversion tracking. Moving on down, we have target search page location. So this is, say for example, if you wanted to appear in a certain position on the search results, then they will automatically bid as much as they need. AdWords will automatically bid as much as they need to get, say, to the first spot. So you can imagine that that can get pretty expensive. So you want to be careful if you're selecting that strategy. Now, target outranking share, quite similar, but it's not that you're just getting to say the top spot. It's that you could be outranking a competitor. So for example, if I wanted to always be outranking Udacity, well then I could select this option and really put in the domain that I want to outrank, and then I'll always be outranking them. Now coming on down, I have enhanced CPC. So again, we need to set up that conversion tracking, and this will just allow you to get it will actually raise your bids for clicks that seem more likely to lead to a sale or conversion on your website. So that is just a brief overview of those automated bidding strategies. You can see there is that extra setup process for conversion tracking for a lot of them. And the dangerous thing, I think, if you're a beginner, is that you will be handing over the bid to Google AdWords for them to determine. So that's why I would recommend you really just stick with manual CPC to get started, so you can really understand and control the costs for your first campaign. Now, budget, I would recommend you keep it pretty small. You can just put it in as 20 euros per day to get started. Now, once you have determined your bid and budget, the next step then is to just set or adjust these additional campaign settings that really finish out the first step in setting up our campaign process. Now, there are quite a few different additional campaign settings that you can adjust. I will just run through them briefly with you so you can understand what they are. Now the first one here is delivery method, and you can see by default it'll be set to standard, which really means that your budget will be spread over the entire time. So if you've set a daily budget of 20 euros, then it will spend that budget evenly over the course of the day. If you click accelerated, well then this could really spend all your budget in the first hour of the day. So usually you would just want to leave it as a standard delivery method. Now moving on then, you can select the start date for your campaign. By default, it'll really be today. You can adjust that if you want to start it next week. And what you can also do is put in an end date if you want as well. So you can maybe set the end date from 7 days from now. So you have a week campaign that you really know an end date of it, and you can assess the results on the basis of that rather than just letting the campaign continue. Now after that, we have the option to add extensions to our ad, and there's quite a few different ones: site link, call extensions, review extensions, etc. Here's a visual of really what these extensions can add to your advertisement. So we're just setting up a simple text ad, but there is the option to add all these extensions in. For example, these site link extensions, which will show a link to certain pages on your website. You've got a call extension, so you can put in your phone number. You've got consumer ratings. You've got seller ratings by stars. You can put in a location extension, etc. And for the most part, you don't need to pay anything additional to put these extensions in. They work on the same basis, cost per click. If they click on one of these pages, then you'll just be paying for that click as you would if they clicked through on the headline, etc. So if you want to set up these extensions, it's pretty simple. You can just follow the steps. And what I'd also recommend you do is go ahead and open up the AdWords Help Center. For example, if you wanted to put in the site link extensions, so if we could just type in site link, let's see, use site link maybe. So we have that exact step-by-step to set it up, etc., how to add them in, and really walk you through that. But now I just wanted to give you kind of an understanding of what those really are, and you can add those in if you want. I'd say for your first campaign, just skip this step and you can do this later on. Now, ad schedule, this is something that you might want to change. For example, if you have a local business and you're only open at certain times, well then you don't want to show your ads in the hours outside of when you are open or answering the phone, so you can set up that ad schedule there. And then moving on down, there are a couple of other options there which you probably don't need to know about right now. So you can adjust any of those settings as you want, and then just go ahead and click save and continue. And then that will bring us through to the second step in our campaign setup process, which is to set up our ad groups. And this is where we can really put in the targeting for our certain keywords that we want to target. Now that you have selected your campaign settings, the next step in the process is to set up your ad groups. And as it says here, an ad group contains one or more ads and a set of related keywords. So for best results, try to focus all of the ads and keywords in an ad group on one product or service. So you can see that by default here we have ad group 1. And what we want to do here is put in about 10 or 20 keywords for one product that we want to promote. Then if we have a separate product, then we can set up a separate ad group with a separate set of keywords for that as well. Now in this example, I'll just set up one ad group, but it'll be the same process that you can set up for each product that you want to set up. And just remember that the campaign settings you've set up in terms of location, language, when it's delivered, will be applied to both ad groups. So just keep that in mind. And if you want a different set of campaign settings, you should set up a separate campaign. So what we really need to do, and the big piece of work in this step in the process, is to add in about 10 or 20 keywords. Now, really, this is where we decide what are the terms that we want to appear in the search results for our ads. And this is an important part of the process because this will really determine the success of your campaign. So I'll show you a couple of things to really reduce the cost of your campaigns and pick the right keywords. So the first thing to think about is like what is the intent of the searcher when they type in this word. So something like digital marketing course, if that's what I'm selling, well, obviously that person really wants to buy a digital marketing course, and so that would be a great keyword for me to include in my campaign. Now, I could also put in something like, what is digital marketing? That could be a keyword phrase that I could get my ad to appear for. The thing is though, if somebody's typing in what is digital marketing, you can see there's no ads on that, and that's for a reason. These people who type in what is digital marketing are much further up the sales funnel. They're not even really aware of what it is. Whereas someone who types in digital marketing course online, their intent to buy is much, much closer. They're much further down that sales funnel and they're really ready to buy. They're just searching for a course to buy. So when you think about your keywords, just remember, where are they in that sales funnel? Are they just becoming aware of this? And you should really avoid keywords like that. Or are they really ready to buy and you want to try and use keywords like that when you're setting up your ad group? So just keeping in mind, where are they in the sales funnel? That's an important consideration when you're picking your keywords. Now, how can you come up with more keyword ideas? Well, one thing to do is just to brainstorm a little bit yourself. So I could say digital marketing training. It's kind of a similar thing. Digital marketing class. Marketing class. So these are all terms that they might be typing in. Now, if I want to get a few more ideas, what I can do is also come over here to get keyword ideas. So I can just take one of these and paste these in here. And now AdWords is going to give me a couple of ideas, and I can really scroll down through these and have a look at these as well. Now, once again, I can maybe just pop that into Google, just check it out. Are these really the type of, do I want to compete with these guys? Have they got a very similar product? Or maybe I should really be focusing on something like, an online social media marketing course, something like that would probably be more appropriate for something like I'm doing. So you want to be quite careful in terms of these keywords and get them as accurate as possible. Now, if you want to get more keyword ideas, what you can do is come to the keyword planner tool. This is a tool within AdWords that will help get you more keyword ideas. So if we, for example, just take one of the main keywords here, paste this in, we could adjust that if we wanted to. So we could say the location, the language, etc. if we wanted to narrow that down. So I'm just looking globally here, but if I wanted to look in terms of just say the US, we can pop this in. And you should really match this up with the location you set in your campaign. So let's see if we can get some ideas here. Now, if we look down, we've got some of the same kind of keywords, digital marketing certification. And the interesting thing about this tool is now we can start to see the suggested bid. So we can see like what is the suggested bid if we want to appear in the search results for these campaigns. Now, I will say that this is quite a competitive keyword. Normally, there would be courses that could be $2,000 that people are selling offline in colleges, universities, etc. That's why these suggested bids are very high. So don't be put off by this. Probably for your product, the suggested bid is going to be a lot lower. But here's some other ones. Learn digital marketing. This is maybe a good term that I can use, and I can actually just add this in across here. Best digital marketing courses, digital media courses. Could be interesting just to add to the list and check it out. So as you go down through, just keep in mind the searcher's intent as well. Again, would this be someone really looking to buy a digital marketing training or course? And just think about that as you go through and look at these different keywords. Now what you can do is actually copy all these to a clipboard then once you're happy, and then you can add these in again. Okay, so some other ideas. How can you get some more keyword ideas? Well, you can come and use this tool SpyFu, and what you really want to do is maybe come to take one of your terms again, just paste that into the search results, and what you want to do is just take the URL of a competitor and we can paste that in. We can come to their paid keywords and we can just get a couple of ideas here again. Digital marketing certification. We can see the cost per click there as well. Curriculum development. So that's kind of an interesting keyword. If we take that, pop that into Google, I'm not really sure what that is. So that definitely doesn't seem to be relevant. So I wouldn't want to include that in my campaign. But digital marketing certification is definitely one if I haven't got that there already. So you can see that you can pick up new ideas in a couple of different ways just by thinking of them yourself, searching in Google, using this suggestion tool here, using the Google Keyword Planner, and using SpyFu as well. So what you want to do is really build up a list of 10 to 20 keywords. Now, once you've got your keyword list built up, there is one other thing that you should really have a look at before you go ahead and click Save and Continue, and that is match types. So you can see here, broad match, phrase match, exact match, and these are an important part of setting up your ad group because these match types really help control which searches can trigger your ads. So if you put a little bit of thought into this, you can really reduce the costs of your ads. Now, if you just type them in like this, by default, these will be all broad match. So if we open this up, we can actually see here that broad match is the default match type for all of your keywords. And ads may be shown on searches that include misspellings, synonyms, related searches, or other variations. So if your keyword is women's hat, someone searching for buy ladies hat might see your ad. So this sounds great, but what it really means is that if you leave it like this digital marketing course online, it could be shown to people who are searching for much broader search terms than that. And that's not really what you want. To reduce the cost of your campaigns, you want to try and trigger the ads only when you have these search terms or very closely related search terms. So what I have here is an image, which I think helps explain this different match type a little bit better. So here's a couple of examples. This broad match, if you typed in something like formal shoes, then it would also match to formal footwear, evening footwear, men's dress wingtips. So it's pretty broad. Now, if you do one layer down, it's called a modified broad match. So if you put formal plus shoes, then that would match to evening shoes, black dress shoes, etc. So I want to show you how this works. If I put in, and we'll just stick with the same example to keep it simple. If I put in formal shoes, just like it is here, this is the broad match. So this could appear for a lot of different terms that are broadly related to this. Now, obviously, that's not going to be great for us because that means our ads could be triggered for a lot of different search terms where their intent might not be to buy shoes, but they're just checking them out or whatever. So what you can do then, one level down, is put in formal shoes. So what if we put this little plus symbol in here, it means our ad will only show up if the search term includes the word shoes, but it could be a little bit broader. So it could appear for things like evening shoes, black dress shoes, etc. So it must include that shoes, but this first word can be broadly related. Now what you can do even further down is put a star symbol or plus symbol in front of both words. So it would really have to contain formal and shoes in the search that they're appearing for, but it could appear words before or after like formal shoes, formal evening shoes, formal shoes comfortable, things like that. Now, if you want to get even more specific and trigger your ads only on a very specific search term, then you can use a phrase. So what we can do then is we could say keep the formal shoes, but we can remove these plus signs, and then we can put in the parentheses here. So this phrase would have to appear in the search that they're typing into Google formal shoes. Now there could be a word before or there could be a word after, but this phrase would have to be in this order. So it could be best formal shoes or formal shoes comfortable, whereas in this one above, where it's the modified broad, these words could be appearing before or after, or there could be words in between these, like formal, formal white shoes, whereas here it'd have to be white formal shoes. So hopefully that explains the difference between those. And then the most narrowest type of match that you could have is just to put these two brackets around it. So what that would mean is that the ad would only be triggered when that exact phrase is typed into Google, and no other words before, after, in between, anything. So that is the exact match type. So you can really set these by putting these little symbols in or before. And the key thing that you want to do is not just leave it on a broad match, because that will trigger your ads for a lot of broadly related keywords. And the purpose of really building up this keyword list and thinking about it is that you have really narrowed down the list of keywords for your ads that are going to be triggered. So what I would suggest you do is really focus on getting a pretty tight key list, and then you can just add the modified broad search on top of that. So what you're saying here is if you add these in, that in the search term, all of these words must appear. Now they could be in different orders, and there could be extra words before or after, but all of these words must appear in the search term. And so that's what I'd recommend. When you've decided your keyword list, just add the plus symbol in front of them so that those words have to be included in the search in order to trigger your ads. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill the rest of these out. Once you're done, then you can just go ahead and click save and continue. And that really finishes up the second step in the process, setting up your ad groups. Once you've set up your ad group or groups, then you can create your ads. Now, these are the ads. This is actually what's going to appear in Google, either on mobile or you can see on desktop here. And so we really want to create these so they grab the searcher's attention and that they're going to click through. Now, as they recommend here, you should create at least 3 ads that closely relate to the theme of your keywords. And the reason that you'd want to do that is so that you can test out a couple of different headlines, descriptions, and see which one really performs the best. Now in this video, I'll just set up one ad to really walk you through the process of it. And you can go ahead and create a couple of extra ones for yourself. So the first thing that you want to put in here is the final URL. And this is really the landing page or the page in your website that you'll be sending people to. So for example, for me, that could just be my website / the product page name. And you can see that this is being updated down here. Next thing that we want to put in is our headline, which is appearing here, headline 1, headline 2, and the description that's appearing underneath. Now this can be a little bit intimidating to do, and what I would really recommend is rather than reinvent the wheel, just come into Google, really type in your product or service and just have a look at the ads already appearing for that underneath some of your keywords. And what you really want to do is have a look at some of these ads and really have a look. What are the headlines that they use? Are they catching your attention? Do they really make you want to click through? What are some of the things that are really catching your attention? 81% were promoted after the course. So that's a pretty good metric. I'm not sure if I could use that personally because I don't measure that, but there are some interesting things here. Now, oftentimes you're not going to see an ad that's maybe perfect. So what you can do is look at a similar product. And for me, for example, this could be, if I don't see any ads that I like here and I don't find any good headline ideas, I could do something like type in ethical hacking course online. So essentially it's still an online course, but it's a different product. And by just changing the search term slightly, I can look at how other similar products, but different topics are being advertised. So now I can see a couple of better headlines that I could use for myself. So I like this layout here. Let's say headline 1, marketing course. So it is a great idea to put your product name directly in the headlines so that when people look at this ad, they can go, yep, that's exactly what I was looking for. Now we've got the headline 2. I think this is pretty good. Enroll today and get 20% off. So enroll today and get 20% off. So again, no need to reinvent the wheel. Just use what's already out there. And then what you can also do is you can see that there's 30 characters here that I can use for this headline 2. And you can think about how could I use those last 6 characters to maybe squeeze more out of that. Then you have your display of the URL. So you can see that I've put in my URL that I want to send people to. And I can really decide, I can really just take this and put that in there. And that can appear here in the search terms. Now you can see that this is a little bit too long. So what I could do is marketing course, maybe just leave it at that. So there I had to play around with it a little bit to try and make sure it fitted in. And also you can come and look at how other guys are setting this up as well and see if you can fit it in the same way as them. So it can be a little bit tricky to fit everything in, but you can just play around with it until you do. Now here in the description we've got 80 characters to play with. So let's come back to some other ads and see if we can get a couple of ideas here. So what I could put in is learn digital marketing. Let's say go from beginner to advanced. I think that would be pretty appealing to people. Maybe something like 30-day money back guarantee I could include. And that's pretty much hitting the 80 character limit. So you can play around with that as well to really find one that's good. And then you can go ahead and click done. And then you're ready to go ahead and click save and continue. And then if you come up to ads and extensions, you can actually see your ad here. And you'll see that status is under review. So this won't go live automatically. Actually, Google needs to manually approve the ad that you put out. And that can usually take 1 day. And of course, for your campaign to go live, you do need to add your billing information. And to do that, you can come up here and then come to billing and payments. And then you can really add a payment method in there in order for your campaign to go live. And that really wraps up the process to set up your Google AdWords campaign.